Hi guys, this is Gabriele from nannuoshan, and today I would like to show you how to find out which is the best water for your tea. So, water. As you know, what makes a cup of tea so special is actually those aromatic substances that are in the tea leaves and that dissolves in hot water. Well, that's correct, but we don't have to forget that most of that cup of tea is actually simple water. Actually, really almost all of it, because the tea molecule that dissolves into water are really just a tiny portion of it. So, say that if you really care about your tea and you really would like to maximize the flavor of the leaves, then you really have also to look at the water. You cannot simply ignore that most of it is water. And this is what we want to look together today. I would like simply to show you which is the best way to find out which is the best water for your tea. So say that we have to spend a few words about what do I mean for tea actually. So if the tea you are drinking looks something like this, then I'm sorry, this is not exactly what we are talking about. So if you just dip tea out of a tea bag, you have to know that the tea powder that they put in those tea bags is really low quality tea. So there is not much that water can do to enhance that tea. Kind of similar is valid for the aromatic, the flavored tea. So no matter if your flavored tea is flavored with artificial or natural aroma, as a matter of fact, if you take for example a black tea that is flavored with cinnamon and with orange, the intensity of that aroma is so strong that will overwhelm the water. So no matter which water you put on it, the intensity of the aroma is so strong, so powerful, and if you want, even a little bit unnatural. Now, what we're really talking about here is loose farmer tea. So what I mean by that, I mean tea that is really harvested by the farmers by hand, is processed by hand, that where the leaves are whole. And this is really the kind of tea that I like, that I hope most of you like, and where water really matters. So saying that, let's see what we're going to do together. We would like to do with you a little experiment. So I would like to show you an experiment that you can do also at home. And with this experiment, you will be able to find out which is the best water for your tea. So let's see what you need for that. Of course, you need a little bit of teaware, but you also need some waters, different waters, because you want to compare different waters with each other. And of course, you need some fine tea leaves. So let's say you need water. Now, for the sake of simplicity, I will only use 2 waters for this experiment. But as you can see in this picture, just a few days ago, I was doing the experiment with 4 different waters. And as you can see in this other picture, just a couple of weeks ago, a friend of ours was doing the experiment with 12 different waters. But I will do only these 2 waters. One is simple tap water and the other one is filtered tap water. It has been filtered simply by the filter embedded in my fridge in the kitchen. So I'll put the waters here, and then what we need 1 bowl for each water. So in my case I have just 2 bowls, they are here, and then we need 1 spoon for each bowl, or if you prefer, just to simplify your life, we can take just 1 spoon, and you can take a glass of water where you will rinse your spoon in it. And this is what I will do today. But I mean, if you want, you can use also several spoons. Then you need a tiny tea bowl. Yeah, I really like to do this experiment with a very small cup. It can be even smaller than this. Then you need a scale. You need a scale because you want to weigh the leaf, and I will use this tea lotus as a dispenser to weigh it. And then you need a measuring glass to measure the quantity of the water. You need a timer, so I will use here my phone. And you need, we said, some tea leaves. I will go for a very fresh Anjibai from this here. I will put this here. Alright, so we are all set and we can start the experiment. I will show you now how it works. So first of all, we start with the first water, with the tap water, and we put the tap water in here. We will use 150 milliliters of water, and it's important to look at the quantity. Here we go. Then I will measure the leaves. So we say 3 grams. So I would like to measure 3 grams of leaves. More or less, right? It's not so important that it is 3 grams. It can be also, if you want, 2.5 or 3.5. The very important thing is that you have the same quantity of leaves in both bowls. 2.7. This is 3.2. That's perfectly fine. 3.2 here. In the meanwhile, I will put the water in the kettle and start boiling it. Alright, then we have some tea leaves for the other bowl. Again, 3.2 grams, exactly the same quantity as in the first one. Too much. Here we go. 3.2 grams. Alright. And with the tea, we are done. You can have a look at the leaves. It is very pale Anjibacha from one of the first harvest day of this year. And I will put it in the second bowl. So now the bowls are ready. Here we are. I don't need the scale anymore. And I'm simply waiting that the water is boiling. Now, while we wait, let's speak a little bit about which is the purpose of this experiment. What we really want to do here is to steep the leaves of this tea in 2 different bowls in exactly the same way, using the same amount of leaves, the same amount of water, the same temperature of the water, the same type of bowl, and so on. The only difference is the water. In one case, my example, I have tap water. In the other case, I have filtered tap water. Now, it is also important that you do this experiment together, that you steep the different teas at the same time. You don't want to try one tea today and the other tea tomorrow, because as some of you certainly know, our taste perception can change from one day to another. So it's really, really important, if you want to tell them apart, to do this experiment all in one. So now the water is boiling. I can start steeping the first tea, and I prepare my timer. That's very important. So I prepare my timer, I start the timer, and I put the water inside the first bowl. Just directly on the leaves, all of it. Alright, we are done. And now I measure the other water. So this is the filtered water. Again, 150 milliliters. Here we go. And I simply go through the same process. You can do that as many times as you want, right? Is depending on your amount of tea. I will do now it only 2 times. Now, you have noticed that I'm steeping this very delicate green tea with boiling water. Now, as you probably know, it's not the best for green tea to use 100 degrees water, because the leaves will develop, the tea will develop a little bit of a bitter taste. But now we don't really steep the tea for just having the better taste. We really want to have a better comparison. So what we do, we really stress out the leaves, steeping them in 100 degrees water, boiling water, so that they can develop also some bitterness. Yeah, we don't mind. And this way we really can appreciate better the differences between the 2 teas. So now we have to wait a little bit that the water is boiling. It will be relatively quickly, yeah, maybe a couple of minutes between the 2 teas, but it's important that we record this time. We want to know when we steeped the first tea, when we started steeping the first tea, and when we started steeping the second. So we are almost there. 2 minutes has passed, and now the water is boiling. I'm up in the mountain, so the water here boils at 94 degrees actually, so I'm a bit yeah, it's not optimal, but I mean, I cannot do anything else than just live with that. All right, so it is 2.5 minutes from the start of the first steeping, and I put the water directly on the second leaves. Okay. All right, so saying that, let's spend a little bit some words about what to expect from different kind of waters. So let's take, for example, hard water. So I mean water that has a lot of minerals inside, for example, calcium, magnesium, and so on. If the water is very rich in minerals, the water itself will cover a little bit the taste of the tea. So all those complex and fine nuances of the teas will a little bit disappear, will fade out. And in your mouth, you will be a little bit disappointed, yeah? So you might think, okay, then let's go the opposite direction. We just don't put any minerals in it, and we simply steep our tea in distilled water. Also, that case, that option is not really optimal, right? Because right, the different fragrancy would be a little bit more easier to distinguish from each other. Also, that complexity of flavor would be there, but the tea would completely lack of body, of heft. So you put it in your mouth, you taste it, and you have the feeling something is missing. It's like too light. Okay. So you might think, let's go in the middle, and we take just a water with some mineral, but not too many. And also here is a bit tricky. You can go to the grocery store, you select 2 bottles of water that have more or less the same amount of minerals, you do this, and then you do this experiment. Now, what will you realize is that even 2 waters that have very similar water content will show some differences. One tea might have a little bit more bitterness, and maybe the other one reacts, the other water reacts a little bit sour with some particular tea. So the only way to find out which is the better water is to rely on your taste and try. And we really want to try with different teas if you want. If you are a fan of green tea and Taiwan oolong, then just do the experiment once with green tea and once with Taiwan oolong. All right, the leaves are steeping. They are really beautiful. I will show you later. They are so pale in color. It does very early harvest where the Anjibaicha leaves have not yet developed the green color because chlorophyll is just missing in the plant. It's 5 minutes. It's time to taste. So I will stir it so that I get an homogeneous taste. This is also something you don't do when you really steep kombucha. It's just for the sake of the experiment. And then I take 2 spoons of tea without leaves. And now let's see how it tastes. When you taste the tea, you want also to put some air into your mouth. So the air enhances the perception of the taste. So it might get a bit loud, but that's okay. I mean, you just do this experiment among friends, right? And in fact, it's quite bitter. So I like actually bitter teas, but this bitterness is a little bit too much. Yeah, of course, partially is responsible the water. I use 95 degrees water, but it's not only that, it's also the water itself for sure. So what you can also do is breathe in from your mouth and breathe out from your nose, like this. This way, the taste of the tea comes back into your mouth and you can appreciate better the quality of the aftertaste. We have just another 20 seconds to go, and then we will taste the second tea. So the first tea have been steeping 5 minutes before we started the tasting, and for the second one, we wait exactly the same amount of time. Again, I mix it a little bit, and then I take some leaves, more or less the same amount that I took before, because I want to leave the same amount of water inside the bowl. All right, so what do you want to focus when you taste the tea? We could speak very long about tea sensoric and these aroma wheels and what to look in the taste of the tea. But I would limit ourselves for this experiment to just two aspects. One is the fragrance and one is the body. So one is that the heft feeling in your mouth, that is where the tea is not too thick and it's not too thin, so the body of the tea. And the other one is simply the fragrance that comes out of the leaves. That's really interesting, actually. Wow, that's the two teas are exactly the same tea. Yeah, this is just gone through a filter, and the difference is really, really big. I mean, the bitterness level is lower in this one. You still have a little bit of bitterness, but it's no more unpleasant. And on top of that, the bouquet of the tea is very, very present. You have this kind of crispiness in it, and since it is less bitter, it has also a little bit of sweetness in it. Yeah, it's fresh and sweet, like a fresh cucumber salad, if you want. And I even taste a little bit of nuttiness, actually, which is not so common in Anji by Cha. Maybe it comes from the temperature of the water. I just know very quickly another taste. This tea has already been steeping for 9 minutes. And let's try this one. The difference is really huge. Like, you could tell it blind, yeah, and it's exactly the same water. When you will do this experiment at home, trying with different water, the range of taste will be even wider, and you will really realize how important is the quality of the water. But very important, choose a very good tea. All right, so we are more or less at the end of this experiment. So now it's your turn. You have to do it yourself at home. And for those of you that will do this experiment during the next week, we have a little giveaway. What does that mean? You do this experiment at home, you take a picture of yourself while you do this experiment, you post it on Instagram, and you tag nannuoshan. We will realize that you tagged us, and we will send you a message to send you a free sample of this Anji by Cha. So very simple, do the experiment yourself, tag us on an Instagram post, and you will receive a free sample of this, no matter how many of you will participate. All of you will receive a free sample. All right, so that's actually all from my side. Thank you very much for listening and for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if it is the case, please click the like button that is just on the bottom below this video. It's very important for us, so to get those likes. And also, please, if you like, just subscribe our channel, our YouTube channel, because despite this being the first video after more than 3 years since the last one, we have new plans on nannuoshan. So we really would like to do more videos, and you can be sure that soon, very soon, we will post more videos. Not only with me today, but we will also involve other people, other nannuoshan partner, nannuoshan customer, friends. So just stay tuned and see you soon. Enjoy your tea moment. See you next time, and bye bye.